This video is about solving proportions. So proportions are two ratios that are set equal to each other. So first we need to know what a ratio is. A ratio compares two quantities. So it might compare girls to boys in a classroom or men to the total population. Okay. Uh, Ratios can be written in three ways. The most common is as a fraction, A over B. We could also have A to B or A colon B. So first we're just going to look at writing some ratios to compare things. In a first grade class, there are 6 kids coloring with red crayons, 3 kids coloring with blue crayons, and 9 kids coloring with green crayons, and 6 kids coloring with purple crayons. So in number 1, we want to compare the red to green. So there are 6 kids coloring with red. So we're going to have 6 on top for red, and then there are 9 coloring with green. Then we would reduce our fraction, so both of these are divisible by 3, so that would reduce to 2/3. In number 2, we want to compare blue to the total class. So there are 3 kids coloring with blue. To figure out how many total kids we have in the class, we're going to add up all of the colors together. So we have 6 plus 3 plus 9 plus 6, which is 24. Both of those numbers are again divisible by 3, so this reduces to 1/8. In our last one, we are comparing the number of kids coloring with purple to the number of kids coloring with red. So there are 6 kids coloring with purple and 6 kids coloring with red. That reduces to 1/1. The rest of the video we are going to spend on proportions. So proportions are two equivalent ratios. In order to solve a proportion, we're going to cross multiply. So when we cross multiply, the numerator of one part of our fraction multiplies with the denominator of our other for both of them. So in this case, we would have 5 times 6 equals 10x. 5 times 6 is 30. So 30 equals 10x. Now we can solve for x. So because this is multiplication, we would divide by 10. So x equals 3. Now, in number 5, this 2x plus 4, because there's an operation there, we want to put parentheses around it, so when we distribute, the 8 will multiply with both parts. So when we multiply here, we have 8 times 4 equals 8 parentheses 2x plus 4. So on the left-hand side, 10 times 4 is 40. On the right-hand side, we'll distribute the 8. So we get 16x plus 32. We can subtract 32 from both sides. 8 is equal to 16x. When we divide by 16, we get 1/2, which we can also write as 0.5. In number 6, when we cross multiply, we would have 8y equals 2, and we're going to put this in parentheses, so times 3y plus 1. We need to distribute the 2, so we get 8y equals 6y plus 2. We can subtract 6y from both sides, so 2y equals 2. And then we can divide by 2, so y is 1. In number 7, to cross multiply, we would have 4 times x minus 1 equals 3 times 4x plus 1. So remember, we have parentheses in both of them, so this is a double distributing problem. So on the left-hand side, when we distribute, we get 4x minus 4 equals, on the right-hand side, 12x plus 3. So we can subtract 4x from both sides. Negative 4 is equal to 8x plus 3. We can subtract 3 on both sides, so negative 7 is equal to 8x. Then to get 8 by itself, we would divide. To get x by itself, we divide by 8. So that is negative 7/8, which is equal to negative 0.88 if we are rounding to our 100th place. Number 8 and 9 represent our special cases. So in number 8, when we cross multiply, we have 3 times parentheses 3x minus 12 equals 9 times parentheses x minus 1. On the left-hand side, we distribute the 3, get 9x minus 36 equals, on the right-hand side, 9x minus 36. Notice that both sides have a 9x, so when I subtract 9x from both sides, those cancel out. We're left with negative 36 equals negative 36. That is true. Those are the same number. So when this happens, we have infinitely many solutions, just like when we were solving a linear equation. In number 9, when we cross multiply, we have 3 times 2z is equal to 2 times parentheses 3z minus 3. So on the left-hand side, we get 6z equals. When we distribute on the right-hand side, we get 6z minus 6. Notice 6z is on both sides, so when we subtract 6z, we get 0 is equal to negative 6. That is not true, so remember when this happens, this is a no solution. So in number 10, when we cross multiply, we have 10 times parentheses v minus 3 equals 9v. We can distribute our 10, so 10v minus 30 is equal to 9v. So if we're moving our smaller variable, we can subtract 9v from both sides. So 1v, or we can just write v, minus 30 is equal to 0. So we're going to add 30 to both sides. So v equals positive 30. In number 6, when we cross multiply, we have 3 times parentheses 2x plus 1 is equal to 6 times parentheses x plus 3. When we distribute on the left-hand side, we get 6x plus 3. When we distribute on the right-hand side, we get 6x plus 18. Notice that they both have a 6x, so we're going to subtract 6x from both sides, and we are left with 3 is equal to 18, which is not true. This is a no solution. In number 12, when we cross multiply, we have 8 times parentheses 3x minus 3 equals 6 times parentheses 4x minus 4. So when we distribute, we get 24x minus 24 is equal to 24x minus 24. Notice we have 24x on both sides, so when we subtract 24x, we get negative 24 is equal to negative 24, which is true. So this is going to be infinitely many solutions. In number 13, when we cross multiply, we have 18 times 10 plus 2x equals 6 times negative 4x. When we distribute, we get 180 plus 36x is equal to negative 24x. So we can move our smaller x by adding 24x to both sides. 180 plus 60x is equal to 0. We're going to move the 180 to the other side by subtracting. 60x is equal to negative 180. So we divide by 60. We get x is negative 3.